Just a disgusting sauce that hurts your mouth and probably your stomach and butthole in just a matter of moments.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? For First We Feast, I'm Sean Evans, and you're watching Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. And today we're joined by Jason Sudeikis. You know him from his decade on Saturday Night Live, comedy box office smashes like We're the Millers and Horrible Bosses, and of course, for his role as Ted Lasso on the 11-time Emmy Award-winning hit show now in its third season on Apple TV+. Jason Sudeikis, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How are you around spicy food before we get started?
If it has like 3 little jalapenos next to it at a restaurant, I'll give it a shot.
Oh, you're adventurous.
I'll give it a shot. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, doesn't mean especially if I'm not paying. Go for it.
I got good news for you, Jason. Wings of death on the table, and they're on us today. Are you ready to get started?
Very kind of you. Yes, I am. Yes, sir. I think you kind of gotta go for it, right? I mean, yeah. It's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm. Classic sort of table diner hot sauce there.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, you're eating this, you're surrounded by about 50 to 60 television screens. You know what I mean? Right? This is, you're like, okay.
Yeah,
you have
the
stuff to
games
choose.
are on.
Yeah, exactly, right? You know
Very approachable.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I likewise grew up in the Midwest playing sports, and I can see Ted Lasso and a lot of the baseball and football coaches that I had growing up. Mm-hmm. Were you inspired by any coaches in particular, or is Ted Lasso more of an amalgamation?
It's an amalgamation of a bunch of different, teachers, mentors, whether people I actually got to meet or work alongside of or be coached by. But then, certain elements of it, the look was kind of inspired by Mike Ditka, having the shades and the short polyester shorts and the mustache was very much Ditka. Then I had my high school basketball coach, a fellow named Donnie Campbell, would do those little turns of phrases like Ted does. And I always loved those things. And he also was the one that really pretty much introduced myself and my teammates to John Wooden, who was the UCLA basketball coach that has a bunch of phrases that are more like philosophical than pop culture or like quirky and whatnot. But yeah, it's an amalgamation of all those things. Does this show your idea?
So Chris Schoenberger, who's not here right now, he was the one that was like, well, what if we interviewed celebrities but had them eat increasingly spicy chicken wings over the course of the interview as a way to break them down? Yeah. And then here we are. It's become like the cross-eye bear, like 8 seasons later, just eating hot sauce, eating wings. Didn't know this would happen, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think if people know that stuff's going to happen, they're lying.
Right.
When it happens, you just want to hope that you're prepared to deal with the good and the bad that comes with something that...
Just hold on to the board and the tidal wave takes over, and wherever it goes, you just try to stay on it.
Be like water. Yeah, I mean, that was nice too.
There we go. That's See, nothing to worry about here. Nothing to worry about.
That's not, all right. You don't get to 21 seasons when there's not a little something to worry about. All right. I've watched Jeopardy. All right. I've seen The Simpsons, man. I know what's up. Yeah.
So you hear a lot about influential acting teachers, Stanislavski, Meisner, and the effect that they've had on Hollywood, but I'm curious, what role do you think comedy instructors like Del Close have played in shaping American humor?
Oh, goodness. I mean, unquantifiable. I mean, I was lucky to have Del Close for 1 year, and it was very, during my time in Chicago in the late 90s. And it's not just him. It's then also I believe it's called the pyramid of influence, like the people that he influenced, that then how they influence because
like the Andy Reid coaching tree or something.
Yeah, is that a term? Yeah, where he was influenced by this coach and this coach, like we run this play, but we run this version of it, all that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because hopefully you get to do enough of it that your influences get rubbed off, sort of get beaten out of you. So, I mean, I think every dude around, my age, I'm 47, I don't know how old you are,
36.
Yeah, so probably, plus or minus 5 years of me, everybody did Jim Carrey at some point, and then at some point it kind of gets, either beaten out of you or weaned out of you, and it just becomes part of your spine, I'm probably constantly ripping off Bugs Bunny and not even realizing it. So, yeah, Del Close and Bugs Bunny, those are the two biggies for everyone, not just me.
Krabby Shack.
Sounds familiar. Let it go. Yummy as well. Yummy as well.
Cleaning that thing.
Yeah, man.
Throwing down. I love it. I love it.
I like half of a turkey sandwich.
Which is actually the way to do it.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
the way to do it. That's the way to do it. You don't want to overeat and then come into this thing.
Yeah, I don't want my stomach to be all small. I want to have like a little,
room.
A little room and, a baseline. Yeah.
So I've heard you say that before you were hired on Saturday Night Live, you hated on it as a young comedy lover, which is something that I understand, but I think that like you and Bob Odenkirk are like the only people that I've heard admit that out loud. How would you?
I'd take pride in that. Like, that's great. I mean, Bob, I love that dude.
How would you unpackage that sentiment?
Metaphorically, it feels a little bit like, the girl in school that you have a crush on, that you kind of hate on until you realize, oh, that's weird that you feel that way because she was asking about you. It's like, really? Like, what did she ask? You gotta be careful, don't get. But because it was just a little bit of that youthful ignorance and arrogance. They would never let me play, football at Notre Dame. I'd never get to play basketball at KU, but, so what, how would I ever get to, do this, like work on Saturday Night Live?
Right.
So yeah, let's hate on it. And it wasn't so much hating on it. It was like, because I had heroes on that show. I had friends on that show at that time. I had a specific reason why that I tried to articulate why, but I think deep down inside, it was just, protecting myself from the possibility of not achieving something that, boy, oh boy, wouldn't be neat if I did, Well, that's sweet.
At first.
Oh. Are you just immune to it? No?
So I'm no superhero.
Right.
Like I feel it all, but I think the difference is I don't panic because I've been there. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like a lot of people,
up.
they come in and this is like the spiciest meal they've ever eaten in their lives.
Sure.
And then they're doing it in this ridiculous context of lights and cameras and strangers all
wait
around.
A minute.
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel it. It gets uncomfortable sometimes.
Have any of your reactions to this on the show become a meme or a GIF?
Yeah, well, one time, I almost died on my shield on the show here, actually, with John Bernthal.
Yep.
The first wing.
Yeah.
I take a bite, and then I don't know what happened, but I took like a little breath in. Like, I think he said something that made me laugh a little bit, and a piece of chicken got lodged like clean in my windpipe, and I went to talk, and I was like, like it was like coming out like, like,
oh yeah, sure.
And then I started, because I'd never felt anything like that, and the thought started to go into my head, like, this will be my legacy. The chicken wing talk show host that choked on a drumstick and went out on his shield with John Bernthal sitting across from him. So that was a moment that I had. So when people go through that,
how'd you get out of it? What happened? Did you Heimlich yourself or what happened?
I was about to, and then Dom over there was getting concerned, started creeping up, and then you have that sort of like everyone's like, you know what I mean? Like, not only am I going out, but I'm going out in like this way where everyone's like looking at me and I'm helpless and I'm trying to explain it to them, but I can't. So, but anyways, it just naturally kind of like cleared, like by the grace of God or something, and it just naturally cleared.
That's just
and then
the body just taking care of
the next like 2 or 3 wings, like I was kind of talking like this though.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, it's great.
So the premise of Ted Lasso naturally invites an interesting reflection on the differences between American and British comedy. Now, I know this is kind of a silly exercise, but I am curious. How do you think a British comedy about an Englishman taking over an NFL franchise, how do you think that might be different in tone from what you've created with Ted Lasso?
I mean, the wardrobe, hugely different. They might be in like a nice suit. They're, dressed, like. They
do dress nice.
I would imagine a huge annoyance at having to speak at the quarter and halftime to the press, right?
Yeah.
When I see the NBA coaches have to like,
hey, in between quarters, like the game's going on. Like,
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna surprise these guys with next half? Like this? Like, don't they have TNT? Aren't they gonna hear this? Like, come on, man. So I mean, there's probably some element of that. Probably they might get a little annoyed with our lack of clever chants over here. I can see the British coach writing the chants for the crowd. Be like, here, here, go ahead and do this. But yeah, those are a few ideas, right? Something like that.
That all sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right. Jason, are you ready
Yes.
to move on here to the back half?
Yes. Oh, yeah, here we are.
Here we are.
I know, I'm so used to wings coming in a dozen that this 10 is like...
It's light work.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. Leaves 2, one for him, one for him, right? All right. This reminds me... I did this movie Hall Pass. It was with me and Owen Wilson, but then also, Steve Merchant, J.B. Smoove, Larry Joe Campbell, and we did a scene taking place at a sports bar, and we're eating wings. And it was my first time of being in like a big studio movie, like lead, like Owen and I are on the poster type thing. And we're going around, and when you shoot like all people around the thing, you have to keep moving the camera. If you have the time and money, which they usually do for studio movies. And there were hot wings, and I just made, and they weren't this hot, or not as hot as the one we just had, by the way.
Yeah. It's another level, by the way. I was about to say, like, as you were just going through that, I was like, wow, he just right over that speed bump, no problem.
No, it's happening. Yeah, we're in real time here.
Yeah.
What was I saying? I'm an actor, right? Okay, here's what I know. So we're eating these wings, and I'm eating them while the camera's on, like Owen.
They tell you not to eat, really.
I know. Well,
but you were.
They didn't before then. I didn't. I hadn't done enough to have my method, right? And at some point, I'm eating them, and he's just like, God, he's like, gosh, so you don't just put anything in your body, huh? And I'm like, oh yeah. He goes, I'd be so curious what you look like if you actually worked out and took care of yourself. This one just has a little sign at the bottom of it saying, very hot. Very hot.
Right. But an otherwise kind of like nice and approachable label.
Yeah.
But then the heat on this sauce.
Now, is this one that I'm going to be talking and all of a sudden I'm going to be... Yeah.
Going forward, that's how it goes, you know? Because a lot of times I'll see guys like, oh, that wasn't that bad. But then it has that sort of like 30-second time release.
It's coming. Yeah.
Where it starts to hit, right.
Yep.
And then it kind of just waves on us.
This is great.
From there.
This is great. This is here we go. This is the fun.
Yeah, here we go.
I mean, it's been enjoyable speaking with you and really enjoy your questions. But now this is the thing.
You really feel it.
This
really
is
feel it.
Yeah. That's why that's why
you tune in, yeah. Yep. That's why I put the pay-per-view paywall up right here for this moment right here, Jason. So early in your career, I know it was a dream of yours to join the Blue Man Group, auditioning at least 3 different times. What's the process like for turning yourself blue? Like, how long does it take? And then do you remember the initial reaction, your first reaction upon seeing yourself in the mirror for the first time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the process, I only got to get bald and blue, they say, one time. Now, here's the thing that I didn't realize, is that all these guys had different faces than me. They all were, like, great-looking, like, cheekbones, like, full set of choppers. They're not like it just looks different. And then when you are all one color, if you don't have those things to hang that paint on, you look like I did, which I sincerely mean this. And I looked like a blue peanut M&M. It was like that's not a face in there anymore. It's like eyes and some little tiny teeth. But I can't see a hint of cheekbones. I don't know what the hell is going on there. And I did not look like my cool ass buddies. I was like, oh no. And then, the drumming, just with the intensity of being in the thing and all that, my chops weren't strong enough. So it's like I went in there and I remember just like flop sweating, and then you're flop sweating and then blue.
In the blue, yeah.
In the blue. And it's just, just a blue M&M just, getting rinsed with like a garden hose. Like,
yeah, real tears of a clown moment.
Indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a blue clown, no less. Oh well, I'm here now.
Well, speaking of crying.
Yes.
This next sauce is the bomb beyond insanity.
Yeah. Where's this from?
Guess, Kansas City, baby.
That's right. That's how I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just a cough. That's not...
A preemptive cough.
Yeah, it's clearing it out. Preparing it. All right, here we go. Let's go, Casey. Kansas City, Kansas, P.S. Which is the side I'm from, for those that care for the distinction. Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, man. And there's 2 more after this.
There's 2 more
I'm just reminding you.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee. Okay.
Yeah. Different level altogether.
Let's talk about our feelings.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
I know this is one everybody talks about, but yeah, it really is. It's a
It
jump.
lives up to the legend.
Yes, it does. Okay.
So on the topic of Kansas City, I actually got to participate in my first ever Big Slick last summer.
Oh, you did?
I did. You were filming, of course, in London, the charity event that you guys do every year to benefit Children's Mercy Hospital.
Yes.
And let me tell you what you missed out on, all right?
Please.
Because at the end, there's this buffet, the sprawling buffet of pulled pork and burnt ends and spare ribs.
From all these different...
From all of the
different barbecue places, yeah.
Kansas City barbecue
It's amazing the way the
joints.
city, surrounds us and supports it, yeah.
How would you describe your ideal Kansas City barbecue crawl?
Ooh. I mean, it's hard, man. It's like I want burnt ends, from say Gates. I'll take pulled pork from Kansas City Joe's. I'll take any of the sides from Jack Stack. I'll do Q39 for the turkey, and then I'll do my brisket from Arthur Bryant's.
There you go. And then the sauce that you just ate, it's from Kansas City. After trying it, would you consider that like a point of pride or an abomination?
I think it's absolutely a point of pride.
There we go.
That's why I looked. I mean, I was pretty sure it was, but I didn't look before we started. But absolute point of pride. It's a great name. It's a frightening bottle. There's a nuclear warhead on it.
And a disgusting sauce, but you know
what?
what?
It's a disgusting sauce that hurts your mouth and probably your stomach and butthole in just a matter of moments. Now this one, a watermelon ghost. Like, this sounds nice. Get the watermelon right off the bat.
Yeah. Strange hot sauce, this one, I gotta say.
Now, there's another one of those little signs down at the bottom that says extreme heat. Gives you all this stuff to look at and read. Then down there, extreme heat.
Yeah, I know, but then they kind of lead with the watermelon. There's a lot of mixed messaging with extremely hot sauces.
Yep.
Sometimes they don't really like tell you, like they don't reach out and scream to you, like this is super fucking hot.
Yeah, they don't all put a nuclear warhead on it with a caution.
Right. Just only the ones with integrity, you know?
I am who I claim to be. All right.
Kind of fishing here, but do you have a favorite Norm Macdonald story? Those are up there with like Michael Jordan lore. Like I just can't get enough.
I do. And I know he's told this story before, and I think Seth has told this story, but this happened to me in real time, where we then I was staying at a hotel, and he's like, "Hey, you hungry?" I was like, "Yeah." I go, "I'm staying at the Sunset Tower." He goes, "Oh yeah, great. We'll go have some breakfast." It was like 11 a.m. or something. So I was like, "Absolutely." So we're sitting there, we're just talking about whatnot, and he's like, "Hey, I was showing my son, some of my old stuff, when I was on Saturday Night Live there." And I was like, yeah, man, I know. He goes, I was doing the news thing. I was like, yeah. And he goes, remember one point I showed it to my kid, and he goes, "Oh, Dad, you do your jokes just like Seth." And I was like, "Oh no, my son doesn't know how time works." And I was just like sitting there, like, did he just come up with that? Was this all a ruse? I was doing Seth's show right after Norm had passed, and 2 days before I got there, Seth told that story. So he had, Norm had then shared that story with multiple people at that point. Whether it was riffed or not, or told or set up, and just to, for that punchline to knock me out the way it did, was one of those things about him that I just love. He was just always, he always wanted to make you laugh, but not work too hard while doing it. It's such a badass way to go about doing it. And in being that way, he continues. He's one of those guys you can just watch forever, and just, you can't help but wishing you kind of talk like him, Here we are.
All right, Jason.
You gotta shake this one.
You gotta shake it.
All right, what happens if you don't?
You know what, that's a good question. I have no idea. I have no idea.
How much did you put on?
I actually did a good dab. Usually I end up accidentally just dumping it like crazy.
Yeah.
There you go. Good job.
Decent.
All right. Cheers, Jason.
Cheers indeed.
What a run.
All right. It had a hair on it, but the dab disintegrated it. So we're fine.
All right, that's good.
It was great. I mean, I came right after that dab too, but I don't know what the hell I'm thinking. I put it right on my tongue.
Same with me.
Why?
I took it head on
Yep.
because that's what it's about. Meeting the moment, you know?
I feel like this whole thing would have been easier if we did it with our eyes closed. You ever done one of these in the dark?
No, but that actually,
You know?
now the mind is turning, you know? Sensory deprivation, Hot Ones kind of episode.
Absolutely. Or upside down.
Zero gravity Hot Ones is what we need to be doing.
That's season 22 shit.
Yeah.
This is
But I love the rewrite table. I love the
This
rewrite
is what we
table.
do. Yeah.
This is what we
No
do
ideas
here.
are bad ideas.
This is what we do.
They're expensive. They're more expensive. It does increase the value of the program. Cost.
So, when we had David Blaine on the show, he talked about how he'll often mess up a trick, right? While it's happening.
Yep.
But that he can usually fix it on the fly because he knows where the trick ends up.
Yep.
And the audience is usually none the wiser.
Yes.
All right. So as a lifelong magic hobbyist yourself,
Sure.
I'm curious, do you see any sort of connection or similarity between magicians and improv performers? And then follow up, I brought a deck of cards. I'm not going to ask you to do a card trick, but I am curious if you can do one of your like showman pops with your fingertips and brain soaked in hot sauce. You know, there's an added degree of difficulty here.
I see it. It's funny because when you open this, it did make me feel like, oh, this is like what a magician, card in person does. They'll be like, hey, brand new deck, let's seal it. So it's like, man, I know you can buy those stickers. As far as this stuff, there are folks that can do far greater stuff than me. I can do a couple of things, but I think the thing you're talking about, let's bring it up. And so I think I've done this in a handful of movies and whatnot. Yeah, and then you just sit there and yeah, and that's that. And then you can do one-handed cut, stuff like that. That's
Wow.
not bad. But that's the one thing, man. People, magicians, ice in their veins. Like to have to like do something, perform something, like athletes. Magicians, man, that's a different breed. To want to do that, to be able to do that, big ups.
Jason Sudeikis taking on the wings of death.
Indeed.
Look at you, 10 toes in the sand, taking on the wings of death, going back.
With Kansas City, come on.
I'll join you at the party, I guess. Oh my gosh.
Da bomb.
What a way to go out.
All right.
That's another magic trick right there, Jason Sudeikis.
Can't feel anything
And
anymore.
with that, it's all done. It's all done. Roll credits. This camera, or this camera. Let the people know what you have going on in your life.
Yeah, I'm just dealing with the hubris of going back to the mom. I mean, it's a little hometown pride, but then also a nice chunk of hubris too. Shouldn't have done that. Don't know why I did that. Could have left on a make. Oh well. But yeah, that's about it. We got yeah. Right. What did I do that for? Thank you. It's great, man, and your questions are so. I mean, I knew that going in, and that's part of the reason I think people you get such such a wide breadth and
Punch above our weight class a little bit.
Yeah,
with the
sure,
guests.
absolutely. But it's like just very thoughtful questions and playful questions.
Thank
but
you.
then,
Thank you.
But yeah, man, it's great. It's such a. I always like the. I think it does come from starting an improv, like where it was all suggestion based, like Whose Lines It Anyway, where it's all about getting out of the pickle that they put you in. It's not just like take one suggestion and then make art.
Yeah.
It's kind of like people trying to like get in your way. So like,
But you know what? They couldn't get in your way. They couldn't get in your way, boss.
No, I mean that last one did. I'm telling you, it was stupid. No reason to do it. Ooh.
Hey, what's going on, Hot Ones fans? This is Sean Evans, and if you've ever watched Hot Ones and wondered to yourself, how hot are those sauces really? I could get through that with no water or milk. Well, now is the time to put your money where your mouth is. The Hot Ones Season 21 lineup is now available in its entirety at heatness.com. Heatness.com. That's heatness.com to get your hands on the Season 21 Hot Ones hot sauce lineup. Milk not included. Be careful around the eyes and get them while they're hot.